Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to see about the banker's algorithm. So this is a deadlock avoidance algorithm in operating system, and we will be seeing the concept behind this banker algorithm with the help of an example. So what we will be covering? We will be covering the basic concept behind this banker's algorithm, and we will be understanding what is safe sequence and what are safe and unsafe state. Okay, so we will be formally understanding about this safe and unsafe state and the safe sequence in this video. Okay, so let's start. So we have already discussed what is the idea behind the deadlock avoidance algorithm in the previous video. So if you have not seen that video, then you can find the link of that video in the operating system playlist. You can find the link in the video description below, or you can find the link here in the I button also. So we discussed in that video that in this deadlock avoidance technique, each process will be actually telling the or declaring the maximum need of the resources, that is how many maximum number of resources it can use in the lifetime. Okay, and after that some number of resources, let's say, they will be allocated to the each process according to its need. And after that, let's say if a process asks for some more number of resources, okay, for according to its remaining need, then the algorithm or the deadlock avoidance technique will do its rough work, or it will check that whether it is safe to give the resources to the requesting process or not. If it is safe, then the resources will be granted to the requesting process. If it is not safe, and you can say if there is a possibility of deadlock into the nearby future, the system can go into the deadlock situation, then the operating system will not grant the request of the requesting process, and it will avoid the deadlock by declining the request of that requesting process. Okay, so basically banker algorithm is a deadlock avoidance algorithm, and we will be not going directly into the technicality of this banker algorithm. We will be taking a simple example first to understand this, and after that we will be going into the basic technicality of this banker algorithm with the formal algorithm. Okay, so here we have taken the banking problem where we have to allocate a fixed amount of money to the various customer. Okay, we want to give the loan to the various customer from the fixed amount of money, and let's see how we can allocate. So here you can see we have the customers like Aman, Karan and Seema, and they have actually told that they will be taking this amount of money from the bank as the loan. So this all thing is in the lakhs. So Aman will be taking 3 lakhs, Karan will be taking 5 lakhs of loan, and Seema will be taking 7 lakhs of money as a loan from the bank. Okay, now the bank is giving all the money of the loan to the people or to the customer in form of, let's say, a small amount of money or a small amount of packets, or you can say a small amount of installment. So currently Aman has been allocated no money. Okay, it has been allocated 0 money as a part of loan. Now Karan has been allocated 3 lakh of money. The maximum need was 5, and 3 lakhs has been given to the Karan as the part of loan. And now Seema has been allocated 4 lakh of money, and its maximum need was 7. Seema wants 7 lakh of money, but 4 lakh has been allocated. Okay, so out of 9 lakhs, this particular amount of money, this total money has been allocated. So it is 4 plus 3, 7. So 7 lakh of money has been given to the 3 customers. Okay, out of 9 lakhs. So how much money is left? So 9 minus 7, it is actually 2 lakh. Okay, 2 lakh money is left with the bank. Now with this 2 lakh, bank has to actually complete the loan amount of each and every customer. So here you can see, after allocating this money to the various customer, what is the future need of the various customer? So maximum need of the Aman was 3 lakh, and the 0 was allocated. So again 3 lakh is yet to be given to the Aman. Now out of 5 lakh, 3 has been allocated to the Karan. So how much money is left to be given into the future to the Karan? 2 lakh. 5 minus 3, left money is 2. Now out of 7, 4 has been allocated. So remaining will be 7 minus 4, 3 lakh. That has to be given to the Seema into the nearby future. So this is the remaining need into the future. Okay, that has to be given to the various customer. So now bank has the available money as only 2 lakh, and it has to complete the demand of each and every customer. So the question is whether the bank will be able to complete this remaining need of each and every customer with this given available amount of money or not. Okay, so is there any way that the request of each and every customer can be fulfilled with this 2 lakh? So answer is yes. What is that way? So here you can see, if Karan comes and he says, okay, I want my 2 lakh of money as the part of loan, as you have sanctioned maximum 5 lakh of money. 3 has been allocated. My future need is 2 lakh. Okay, I want 2 lakh more. Then only 5 lakh will be completed. So I can complete this 2 lakh. Why? Because I have the, or bank has the 2 lakh of money in their account. So it is also asking 2 lakh. So 2 lakh will be given to the this Karan, right? So after giving this 2 lakh, what will be the available money with the this bank? So it will be 0, because 2 is given to the Karan. So 2 minus 2, it will be 0 lakh. Okay, bank will be having no money, right? But after giving this 2 lakh, the Karan will have the 5 lakh of money, and after some time the Karan will actually give back or return the money to the bank also, na? It will not say, okay, I am just going out of the India and I'm going to London, I will not give your money. No, it will not happen, right? So here we have to make the assumption that after using all the money, or after all the money has been given to the Karan by the bank, the Karan has to return the money. Okay, and we are not taking any interest thing, right? That Karan will give the interest also. Okay, we are just simply saying, okay, Karan have to return this 5 lakh of money to the bank. So after allocating this 2 lakh also, 3 lakh has been previously allocated. Total 5 lakh has been given to the Karan. So 5 lakh will now be returned after, let's say, some point of time. Okay, let's say after 1 year, 5 lakh of money has been returned to the bank by the Karan. Okay, so now again bank will have how much money? It will have 5 lakh, right? 5 lakh. So now I have completed the request of Karan. Okay, so Karan request has been completed. Now with the help of 5 lakh, I can complete the request of Aman also, and I can complete the request of Seema also, right? So let's say I complete the request of Seema first. Okay, so Seema comes and she says, okay, I want 3 lakh of money. Bank says, okay, I have 5 lakh, you can take. So I will say, okay, Seema take 3 lakh of money, right? So out of 5, 3 has been given. So how much money will be left? 2 lakh. Okay, 2 lakh with the bank. Now Seema, after taking all this money, 4 and 3, she will have 7 lakh of money. And after some years, she will also return this 7 lakh, right? So when Seema will return 7 lakh, so she will have, so the bank will have 7 plus 2, 9 lakh of money in their account, right? Okay. Now with this 9 lakh, the request or the future request of the Aman can also be completed. Okay, so Aman will be given 3 lakh, okay, as part of their loan. So 9 minus 3, 6 lakh, that is 6 lakh will be in the bank of the account, okay, after giving 3 lakh to the Aman. And Aman, after using this money, after some time of year, this 3 lakh will be returned. So 6 plus 3, again it will be 9 lakh. Okay, so Aman request is also completed. Okay, so Karan, Seema and Aman, in this way we can fulfill the request of each and everyone. Or we can say, after Karan we can also complete the request of Aman and then Seema also. You can check, okay, because both were having the 3 lakhs and 3 lakhs of the request. Okay, so this way we can complete the request of each and every person. Now let's say if we are having only 8 lakh of money, can we complete the request of each and every person? So here also the same thing is there. The demands are 357. Currently they have been allocated 0 lakh, 3 lakh and 4 lakh. So in future they can demand 3 lakh, Karan can demand 2 lakh, Seema can demand 3 lakh, okay, as part of their loan. So can I fulfill the request of each and every person with this available amount of money? So here you can see, after 3 and 4, that is 7 lakh has been allocated out of 8 lakh. How much money will be left with bank? 8 minus 7, 1, right? And now with this 1 lakh, I have to complete the request of Aman, Karan and Seema. Is there any way I can complete the request of each and every person with this 1 lakh? Answer is no. See, with the help of 1 lakh, I cannot complete the request. Why? Because the minimum amount of money that a person wants is 2 lakh. Karan wants the minimum amount of money, that is 2 lakh. I cannot say, okay, you just take the 1 lakh and I will give the 1 lakh in the nearby future. No, bank cannot do this thing. Here we are assuming if the customer has asked for, let's say, 2 lakh of money, total 2 lakh of money should be granted. Okay, but we have the 1 lakh. That means even the lowest request cannot be fulfilled. So that means there is a possibility of deadlock. So that means here there is no way in which I can complete the request of each and every person. Like in the previous example, here we have the two ways. Either I can complete the request of Karan, then Seema, then Aman, or I can complete the request first of Karan, then Aman, and the Seema. There are two possible ways I can complete the request. But here we have no any way. Okay, so here bank, after seeing that there is a this way and there is a this way, bank will say, okay, it is safe to give the loan amount to the various processes. My bank will remain in a safe state. But here, after allocating 7 lakhs, only 1 lakh was left, and now bank has gone into a unsafe state. Okay, in a dangerous state, bank will not be able to complete the request of anyone. Okay, so here you cannot complete the request of any customer. So now let's come to our banker algorithm. It also works on the same scenario or the same pattern. So here the processes will come into our computer system, and each will declare their maximum need, that how many number of resources they can use into the nearby future. Here I am assuming my resource is printer. So initially my available number of printers in my computer system, which are free actually, they are actually 9 printers. Okay, and each process comes and they say, okay, this is my maximum need. P1 needs 3 printer, P2 needs 5 printer, P3 needs 7 printer. Okay, now after some point of time, these number of resources are allocated. Okay, as we have allocated the money, the same way we have allocated the printer. P1 say, okay, I do not want any number of resource or any number of printer right now. P2 says 3 printer needed. P3 says, okay, 4 printer needed. So all these printers have been actually allocated. That is, they are in use. Okay, P1, P2, P3, they are using these number of resources. They are currently allocated. The second term is allocated number of resource. Now in the future, how many number of more printers P1, P2, P3 can need? So here you can see this is the remaining need, as we have seen in the previous example. Okay, 3 minus 0, 3, 5 minus 3, 2, 7 minus 4, 3. Right? So in the same way, I can complete the request of each and every process, right, with the help of this 9 lakh. How? Now here you can see that actually 7 printers have been allocated. Okay, 9 were initially available. 9 minus 7, actually 2 printers are left. Okay, so with this 2 printers, I can complete the request of each and every process, right? So first, which process will be completed? So as we have seen in the previous example, here you can see, here the thing was we are using the money as the criteria, right? But in our current example, we are using the printer. So here you can see, first this current request was fulfilled, then Seema, then Aman. After current, either I can complete the request of Aman also and then Seema also. In the same way, here I can say, okay, first the request of P2, that is, it needs 2 printer, I can just allocate. Okay, so P2 will be allocated. After allocating, we will be having only 0 printers, right? But P2 will actually release all the resources that it has used, 3 and 2, 5. All the 5 printers will be returned. Okay, so after this P2 completes, we will have the 5 printers, right? So we will again have the available number of resources as 5. Okay, now after this, I can complete the request of P3 of the 3 number of printers. Okay, so P3 will be given 3 printers. So I will be having only 2 printers left again. But 4 and 3 will be given to the P3. So 7 printers will be given back to the this computer system or the OS. So we will have again 9 lakh. Okay, or you can say not 9 lakh but 9 printers. Now after this, I can complete the request of P1. Okay, and again I can complete the request of P2 first, then P1, and then P3, as we have seen in the previous example, right? So we have actually 2 order of execution or order of completion in which we can complete the request of each of the 3 processes. This is the first way, this is the second way. So both these ways, they are called as safe sequence. Okay, this is the one safe sequence, this is the next safe sequence. So what is safe sequence? So actually safe sequence is a sequence of the processes, as you can see, sequence of processes, which is showing us the possible order of execution or possible order of the completion without leading into deadlock situation. So here you can see, if we complete the request of the process in this way, first P2, then request of P3 is fulfilled, then P1. So that means we will not go into the deadlock situation. Or if we complete the request in this way also, in this order of execution also, then also we will not go into the deadlock situation. So these are the two safe sequences, first and second. And what is safe and unsafe state? So safe state is actually a state where we have at least one safe sequence present. So here you can see this was our system which was having the 3 number of processes, and each process was having the maximum need and the currently allocated resources. And let's say if we are asked whether this set of processes or whether this system is in safe state or unsafe state. So we will say this set of processes or this system is in safe state. Why? Because we have at least one safe sequence present. Okay, here we have actually two safe sequence. One safe sequence P2, P3, P1. This is one sequence. Another sequence is P2, P1, P3. We should have at least one safe sequence. Okay, if we have one safe sequence, then we will say our computer system or the OS is in the safe state. Okay, we can allocate the resources or we can fulfill the demand of each and every process safely without going into the deadlock situation. Okay, and what is unsafe state? It is just the opposite. Unsafe state means if there is no safe sequence present. Okay, we cannot fulfill the request of every process, okay, with the available number of resources, then we will say we will got to a unsafe state. Okay, so when we can go into the unsafe state again, let's say if we have the 8 printer, then here you can see 7 has been allocated to the P1, P2, P3. So we will have 8 minus 7, 1 printer, and with the help of 1 printer, we cannot fulfill the demand of any of the P1, P2, P3 because minimum we need 2 printer, okay, in the future. But with the help of 1 printer, we cannot fulfill the demand of even P2 also, right? So we will go into the unsafe state, right? Or we can say that currently with this allocation, our computer system or the OS is a unsafe state. Okay, there is a deadlock situation. Okay, we can go into the deadlock situation. This system is not in a healthy state. This system is not in a unsafe state. Okay, so we will avoid any request, okay, any request of the processes, okay, because we are not having enough resources to satisfy the demand of any of the processes. Okay, so here we have taken a simple example to understand the banker algorithm. In the next video we will be seeing that, let's say if we are having the many number of resources available, let's say we have printers, okay, P1 need 3 printer, P1 may need 2 CD drive or 5 tape drive also. Okay, so P1 need 3 number of resources, okay, 3 number of resources, different type of resources. Same way P2 can need some particular number of resources of the CD drive, tape drive, and the printer. Okay, so how we can solve that type of questions with the help of banker algorithm, we will be seeing in the next videos. Okay, so in the next video we will be seeing the formal steps of the banker algorithm, okay, with the help of example. And we will be seeing the safety algorithm and the resource allocation algorithm which is inside this banker algorithm. But before that, if you have not understood this example, please go through this video again. Okay, so if you like the video, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon for further notification, and share this video among your friends also. So let's see you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.